Good morning and welcome to the Weather Desk. I'm Meteorologist Craig Moeller. Happy Wednesday. We made it to Hump Day. It's the 26th of August, and we're glad that you're with us. We've got a great show lined up. Really an interesting show. Super producer Sarah Calloway has pulled some interesting kind of weather nuggets. You know, this is a big week historically when we take a look at like the tropics. One of the worst storms to ever impact the United States, the Galveston hurricane, occurred this week. Also, Hurricane Harvey. Do you know, Sarah, I went down to Austin to help cover that for Tegna. Yeah, it was actually when I was back in St. Louis working for KSDK. Harvey was such a threat to Texas. You know, it had huge impacts, as we're going to show you, around the Houston area and Galveston. They had a lot of rain and tremendous flooding there. But the concerns, the flooding all the way into central Texas as well. And as a meteorologist in St. Louis at the time, with all of the tropical experience I gained here in Hampton Roads covering storms, they asked me to go in and help cover the storms in Texas, and met some great folks down in Austin. And we did have some flooding there as well. So we'll talk a lot more about that. We're also going to talk about fire danger in the western U.S., combination of high heat, low humidity, gusty winds, all contributing. We have updates on the Hawk and Ross wildfires, one there near Reno and one east of Dallas. Again, more potential tropical trouble. Now, the southern islands of Japan, they were hit with another typhoon. We'll talk about that. But then we're also going to take a look at some of the stuff brewing in the eastern part of the Pacific, and maybe another threat to Hawaii. Can you believe it? They dealt with Lala, they had Moke down to the south, and now there could be something else in the next 7-8 days we're going to be watching. And then we'll check out things in the Atlantic as well. Still one area that could take a very interesting and timely name. I'll explain that coming up. Also, a rare French tornado caught on video. We'll talk about that. And we're going to have the U.S. Severe Weather Outlook, that along with our weather here as we head towards the weekend across Hampton Roads. So a lot to get to today. We're going to start off by taking a look at yesterday's high temperatures. We were so comfortable here in Hampton Roads. Temperatures low 80s. It really did feel like fall. I mean, were you able to get out at all yesterday, Sarah, or were you working here all day because you never stop working?
I actually mowed the lawn.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Mad
I
skills.
learned how to mow the lawn.
I was going to say, I did not know that your husband had you do. I mean, doesn't he normally take care of it?
He does, but he's been cutting it so often because it's been growing so quickly that I was like, I can handle the front yard. You should just show me how to do it, and that way if you ever need me to, I can do it.
All right, so yesterday it was really nice. Low temperatures, highs in the afternoon were in the low 80s. That's below average. Humidity was low, all right? That's good for grass cutting, because if you did it on a typical Hampton Roads, like 92-degree day with a heat index values of 100, it's not quite as much fun. But again, hats off, Sarah. As we take a look out west, it's a different story. Some more heat around Phoenix. You can see 115, 108 in Vegas, and pretty warm around LA. That official report there at 85, but it was a little warmer inland, and that's what I want to focus on. Again, gusty winds and high heat, a big issue there for some of those valleys just inland from the coast. So parts of Southern California have been dealing with the heat and the gusty winds, and they are under this red flag warning through Friday. They're going to continue to worry about these conditions, as a combination could help fan wildfires. Jeff Nguyen has more.
This is one of the LA County's fire department's strike teams pre-positioned in the Santa Clarita Valley because of increased fire danger.
It's a beautiful view, beautiful area, but there's concern.
It's a few miles from Brad Holtzman's home in Canyon Country, which butts up to the hillsides filled with brush. He says the wind does kick up around here this time of year and into the fall.
We have this mountain with no houses or buildings blocking it. It basically comes down like a chute.
That's a concern for the fire department after the National Weather Service issued a red flag warning for northern LA County and the San Gabriel Mountains.
So a red flag warning in plain English means that we are going into a period of high fire danger.
Captain Aaron Caton says 2 strike teams have been added to the staffing that's already in place. That means 10 extra fire engines, 40 firefighters, and 2 team leaders.
We're going to look at where the temperature is the highest, where the wind's going to be the highest, where humidity's like fuel moisture content going to be the lowest, because that's what causes a fire to spread.
In July, the Point Fire burned near homes in Santa Clarita. At Congregation Beth Shalom, the earth is still blackened. It's a vivid reminder for Holtzman each time he goes to his synagogue. In addition, his mother-in-law had to be evacuated from the Palisades fire in 2025.
All the right side and down here, they'll just come with the weed whackers.
Back at his home, brush is cleared every 3 months. He says defensible space is important, but he's also prepared to run.
I mean, a house is a house. It is, and it's expensive up here, but family's more important.
So we're going to continue to see those dry and breezy conditions out west. Some good news as we turn our attention to the Reno area right along the California-Nevada border. As we take a look, the fire situation there has improved. In fact, it's interesting, this wildfires map that we have took right off the map the symbol there for the fire there around that fire that we've been watching, the Hawk Fire. Here's the update. Again, the crews there have made great progress, but there's still a lot of damage to dozens of homes. In fact, the fires destroyed dozens of homes. You can see the destruction left there near Reno. Flames scorched 15,000 acres since starting over the weekend, and we're told the fire's now 85% contained. At last check, nearly 50 homes total have been destroyed or have suffered some damage. So it's obviously been really bad there. As we turn our attention back to the west of Dallas, boy, this is a different situation. It's gotten a lot worse. The Ross Fire in Texas has exploded from 15 to 50,000 acres. More than 100 firefighters are battling the flames, which sparked on Monday. Since then, at least 5 buildings have been destroyed. Parts of highways 180 and 254 have also been shut down. So that continues to be a big problem. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, so much more to talk about. We're going to get into the tropics in a little bit. We've got severe weather outlook. Stay tuned. It's all coming up in just a little bit. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller. Just got some updated information as we check the tropics for you right now, and we'll start off in the Atlantic. Take a look at this. That area over the eastern portion of the Atlantic around the Cabo Verde Islands. Hurricane Center earlier this morning had a 70% chance for development. Well, they've updated that now, and the new outlook calls for a slightly lower or 60% chance for development over the next couple of days and through the next 7 days. Now, you take a look at that, and that coloring in orange indicates a moderate chance for development. So we'll watch this. I can tell you, checking out the GFS model, that's the global forecast model that the U.S. Really lies on into, the global forecast system. And then the Euro, both of those don't really do a lot with it. They kind of intensify it a little bit, but then they have it encountering some shear and kind of sweeping it up to the north eventually. So I'm not overly concerned with this, but what was really interesting, Sarah, do you know the next name in the list? Do you remember? I said this was interesting and timely. There's a reason.
Is it an N?
It's a D.
A D? Maybe I'm thinking of Pacific.
Pacific, yeah, you're going to the other side. But here, the next name in the Atlantic Basin is Dolly. And people asked.
Stop.
Yeah, people asked about that. Remember, these lists are made 6 years in advance, and they recycle the names. So the fact that we lost Dolly Parton, yesterday, and everybody really impacted in feeling that, to see the next name in the Atlantic Basin on the list is Dolly. We'll see if that becomes Dolly. In any case, only a 60% chance now, down from 70% for development. All right, over in the Pacific, a lot different story there. Eastern Pacific, we've got 3 different areas we're watching. One, I guess you could say technically 4, because there's an area south of Hawaii, but that poses no threat to anything. And there's only a 20% chance for development with that. For these areas here in the eastern part, I'm going to pull the pointer up here so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. We do have some chances for development. There's a moderate chance for something over here. We've got a more likelihood, a high chance of development with this area and this area in particular. I'm going to talk about that. And then you have Isel. That is a tropical storm that is still spinning. And remember, yesterday we had Julio pop up. It's already gone. It's already dissipated. So this is, we'll have more on that in just a moment. But I wanted to mention this area back here, we do have a chance for development. And you'll notice Hawaii right here. Couple of the models, both the Euro and the GFS, do bring something from this general area and kind of develop it and bring it close to Hawaii again. So we'll just have to see if that comes together. Isel is going to wind down as it moves over cooler water and takes, a more, hostile environment over the coming days. That's going to weaken it a little bit, and it'll eventually dissipate to a remnant low. But we are going to have to watch that other area with a higher likelihood of development, as Hawaii could see some more issues. Another area dealing with more issues, southern portions of Japan, and I want to talk to you about that because the southern islands of Japan have been hit with yet another tropical system. This includes Okinawa. They are dealing with the impacts of a powerful typhoon. Typhoon Saudel dumped more than 9 inches of rain across the islands in just 24 hours. The storm also knocked out power to more than 30,000 homes and has canceled 150 flights. The system is now heading towards the coast of China. So the eastern coast of China there, next in line. As we go back to the satellite images, you can see it's still a pretty healthy system there. All right, we're going to turn our attention back here to the United States and specifically the Gulf region and along the Gulf Coast. 2 major systems here, one of the deadliest on record, and the other one a very, very powerful storm to dump a lot of rain along the Texas coastline more recently. So let's talk about those. During this week, 126 years ago, again, one of the deadliest storms in the history of the United States slammed into the Gulf Coast. Meteorologist Evan Stewart takes a look back at the Galveston hurricane of 1900.
In 1900, Galveston, Texas was one of the most important cities in the United States, a booming port town on the Gulf Coast. And the man in charge of watching the weather there was Isaac Klein. Klein led the Galveston Weather Bureau. That's the predecessor to today's National Weather Service. As a powerful hurricane approached on September 8, 1900, Klein made a critical decision. He unilaterally ordered hurricane warnings raised, urging people to move to higher ground. And this was against Weather Bureau policy, which required authorization from the central office in Washington, D.C. And Klein later estimated that that decision saved thousands of lives. But the storm was still catastrophic. The storm surge rose more than 15 feet, sweeping across the low-lying island. Entire neighborhoods were destroyed, and an estimated 6,000 to 8,000 people were killed, making it the deadliest natural disaster in U.S. history. In the aftermath, America changed how it warned people about hurricanes. Meteorologists were empowered to speak directly to the public, and coastal cities rethought how they prepare for storms. Galveston built the massive seawall and raised much of the city. And every hurricane warning issued today traces back to lessons learned here when one meteorologist chose action over protocol.
And the call that Isaac Klein made was huge, but there was still so much loss of life. If you are interested in learning more about the Galveston hurricane, there is a phenomenal book. It was written by Eric Larson. It's called Isaac Storm. I read that years ago, and it left such an impact on me, understanding what Isaac was dealing with, but the accounts of what happened, just unbelievable. As they were evacuating, there was an orphanage where the kids, they literally tied them like hand to hand together so that they would keep them as they tried to wade through some of the floodwaters. Just really harrowing stories, and you can learn a lot more by reading the book Isaac Storm. All right, along the same Gulf region, we had Harvey impact on this day back in 2017. Now, Hurricane Harvey made landfall in Texas as a Category 4 storm. The system dumped 27 trillion gallons. That's trillion, T-R, trillion gallons of rain on that state and Louisiana over 6 days. Dozens of people died, and it cost up to $180 billion in damages. That was the one that I went down to Austin to help cover flooding in central Texas, and it was really an amazing storm. All right, we're going to take another quick break. Coming up, the severe weather outlook and a rare tornado in France. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. We're taking you overseas where a rare tornado swept through this village in the southwestern part of France late Monday. Look at this. The twister damaged at least 300 homes and flipped cars. 41 people were hurt. but all are expected to recover. France only gets a few dozen tornadoes every year. That's far fewer than the United States, where more than 1,000 are recorded annually. So not very often they get them in France, but they can and sometimes do, as you can see. All right, we're going to take a look at our severe weather outlook here in the United States, and we're just taking a look at the radar right now. Some flood advisories over southern Missouri. That's going to be one of the hot zones. There are 3 different areas under slight risk. That's level 2 for today. As we take a look, most of those areas anticipating some gusty winds as the primary threats. Those areas in yellow include eastern Colorado, Arkansas, southern Missouri, portions of northern Mississippi, and western Tennessee. And then I want to focus on this area from Illinois through northern Indiana into northwest Ohio and Michigan, because from Saginaw back down towards Detroit, Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, Champaign, Illinois, these areas just to the southeast of Chicago, they are under this elevated area with some tornadic potential. So we're watching all that. There could also be some large hail in that area, as well as eastern Colorado. Now, the wind, again, the primary concerns for today. As we look ahead to tomorrow, you'll notice that slight risk back across portions of the Northeast. So we'll zoom into that area, and you'll see from northeast Pennsylvania and northwest New Jersey, you see the Scranton area down through Allentown. That's, again, for Pennsylvania, up through Albany, New York, Binghamton, just off to the east of Syracuse, and then we carry it up into New England, portions of Vermont there also with that elevated tornadic risk. Now, looking ahead to Friday, this is an area where the risk of severe weather is lower, but it does include part of the 13 News Now viewing area, basically Hampton, parts of East End, Newport News, and then South Side, all of the South Side, including Isle of Wight, Southampton, all the way out through I-95, and from South Boston on southward into North Carolina. It's a marginal threat, but it is something we're watching. All right, August started off hot. When we come back, I'll let you know how August is going to finish up in the full forecast. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. We're glad you're with us as we take a look right now across Hampton Roads. We get one more really nice day. A lot of sunshine out there. You can see it with the Thompson Creek Window Company Sky View. Look at that sun over Norfolk. Right now at the airport, we're sitting with a temperature of 77 degrees. We're headed for a high today around 86. Winds are calm, and we do have a dew point in the mid-60s, so it's not really oppressively humid, but you might be feeling it a little bit. As we go through the day, you're going to find temperatures warming, as I mentioned, but right now, now, mid to upper 70s near the coast. And we have mid-70s inland, even some low 70s out around Roanoke Rapids and back up towards Petersburg. And then as you go farther north, Tappahannock over to Fredericksburg, you eventually find temperatures there low to mid-70s. Upper 70s at Wallops, and we also have temperatures a bit warmer around Edenton and Manteo, low 80s there. Over the next 9 hours, look for those highs to head into the mid-80s. It's mostly sunny this morning. We'll probably see a few more fair weather clouds later, but generally high pressure is still in control, and that means the weather's got to be pretty nice. We're going to see mainly clear skies for a little bit, and then it becomes partly cloudy, as I mentioned. We'll jump into the futurecast, and I want to talk rain chances because with that high pressure in place, rain chances extremely low through the afternoon and tonight. As we go through the day tomorrow, though, you'll notice a few of those showers starting to pop up down to the south off the coast of the Outer Banks. We could see a few stray showers working up towards midday. I think by afternoon, an isolated to maybe some scattered batches of showers will be possible. A little bit more overnight. This is actually the graph model. I almost said the HER model. It's a graph model. This one I'm showing. It was showing more development earlier. This update is kind of backed off a little bit. I'm going to be super interested to see what comes out in the next hour or so as those models update. We could go back to a little more active pattern. Regardless, chances for a few stray showers or storms tomorrow afternoon. Better chances Friday afternoon. That's scatter wet weather. Remember, we have that marginal or level 1 threat for severe weather, mainly down across the south side in North Carolina. The models do project rain for tomorrow. 5 different models all projecting a little bit over the next 48 hours. And again, the best chances for that tomorrow afternoon. Great beach day today. Surf height only 2 feet, but water temperatures upper 70s. Low threat of rip currents, very high UV index. We do anticipate a small craft advisory after 7 o'clock on the bay. If your allergies are acting up, grass and ragweed, some of the main pollinators right now, both levels high. Mold is moderate. Highs today in the mid to upper 80s across the south side, slightly cooler to the eastern shore peninsula, mid 80s for most, 88 at Williamsburg, low 80s out at the Outer Banks, and we'll see mid to upper 80s for inland parts of North Carolina. Tonight's low near 72, tomorrow back up to 88. We do have that chance for isolated afternoon showers or storms. And there's the rest of the 7-day forecast. Temps a little cooler this weekend. It gets hot again early next week. That's going to do it for this edition of the Weather Desk. Thanks for joining us. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller. We'll see you next time.